Everybody, it's Tifa, and I'm back again. Well, I'm still where I was, actually. I'm up in Newport News, Virginia, working on Riverside family-based webinar. Well, no, videos. That's what we're working on. And we've been at it for a couple of days now. And unfortunately, I'll be at it again tomorrow morning. And then we'll be driving back to North Carolina. And then there'll be Friday. And then there'll be Saturday. Oh, wow. And you know what? Friday is September 1st. Yikes. What happened to August? Oh, wow. It seems like it just went by. But I remember there have been a bunch of things that have happened in August. And August includes summer. Yeah. So the question that I'm going to ask you today is memory. We've been talking a lot about various forms, types, ideas about memory, and there's several more I want to go over. But today I thought I'd talk a little bit about, is there a way you can try harder to get things into memory? I mean, that you have a better shot at holding on to things when you try to put them in memory. And it turns out there's evidence that there are ways to do it, to make it work better for you. It doesn't mean it'll always work, but it means actually you increase the probability that you'll get something into memory. And it has to do with how many aspects of your brain you pull in and how much you devote to putting energy into it. Because apparently there's a change in chemistry when you're actively doing something versus you're passively sort of noticing something. We aren't going to get in today the idea of how emotion impacts this, but it turns out, well, there's a powerful motivator to remember things, and we'll come back to it. But for right now, we're just talking about, I want to learn something. I want to get something in my brain. How do I do that? How do I get myself to hold on to it? And it turns out that if you'll use a multi-modal way of doing it. Now, part of this does depend on the kind of learner you are. It turns out that certain people tend more toward visual learning or auditory learning or kinesthetic learning. Some people are really good at olfactory learning. They tend to be amazing at recognizing wines. And gustatory learning, taste, memory. And when we're talking about this, again, I'm not talking about really awful, really wonderful things, but just learning things, like getting your brain to hold on to data. So this isn't the amazing learning you can do when you get really revved up or you're really worried about something and you've got to hold on to it or you might not be able to keep a job or something. This is just holding on to stuff. So let's say that there's a listing of words that I want to remember. And I want to pair words together. And this is sort of a classic thing that I do. So I'm going to pause for a second so I can pull up the words. You're going to see me actually pause the recording. So I'm going to share my screen. And our goal as a group is to memorize these pairs of words. Now, how many of you looking at this, if you can see it even, because you might be listening, are going, ooh, that's a lot of words? And it is. So here's what I'm going to give you to see what happens if you try this. So I'm going to encourage you to say what I say. And I'm going to say things 3 different times. I'm going to say apple. Now, when I do it, I'm going to actually do a motion with each of my hands. And I'm going to try hard to use my left hand for one word and my right hand for the other word. But I will see what happens because I'm sort of doing this as we go. And I'm going to go apple. I'm going to give it a motion that has some value or meaning to me, like I'm biting the apple. And then I'm going to go orange, and I'm making an O, and I'm going orange with my hand. So I'm looking, I'm doing, and I'm saying. So I'm going to go apple, orange, apple, orange, apple, orange. So I can do it 3 times in a row. And then I'm going to go to the next set of words. And I'm going to do something different with my hands, but the same pattern. And we're going to say it 3 times in a row. We're going to go all the way down this list. And then I'm going to switch to the next page, which will have one of these words, to see whether or not, if we do the one word, we'll be able possibly to think of the second word. Okay, so that's what we're going to try. Now, we may or may not be successful, but we're just going to give it a try. That's all we can ask of ourselves. So it was apple, orange, apple, orange, apple, orange. Now, the next one is black, red, black, red, black, red. You might notice I'm also changing my voice a little bit. You can try that while you're doing the words, not just flat words, but they have value. Ooh, now I'm going to go beans, tooth, beans, tooth, beans, tooth. For those of you who are looking, you'll notice that what I'm actually doing is I have a little tiny bean in this one hand, and then I actually tap my tooth with the other one. Okay, so now I'm going to go watch, glass, watch, glass, watch, glass. And I'm pointing to my watch with my left hand onto my right wrist, might I add. And then I'm holding a glass in my right hand 3 times in a row. Then I'm going to go pencil, and it's like I'm running my fingers along a pencil. And then I'll go shirt, pencil, shirt, pencil, shirt, 3 times in a row. Now I'm going to go hand, hammer, hand, hammer, hand, hammer. Now I'm going to go, oh, now this one I'm actually going to use 2 hands, I think. Hanger, button, hanger, button, hanger, button. And then I'm going to do paper, I'm rolling up the paper. Eye, paper, eye, paper, eye. So I roll up the paper and put it to my eye. Then I'm going to go flag. Wait, I said my left hand. I'll switch. Flag. Meat. And I'm doing the meat of my hand. Flag. I'm waving it. Meat on my hand. Flag. Meat. Then I'm going to go, oh, cup. Cup. So I'm making a cup. Shoe. I'm pointing to my foot. Cup. Shoe. Cup. Shoe. Now we're going to see what we remember. Here we go. We're going to check it out. Let's see what happens for you. Okay, the first one, hanger, button, pencil, shirt, paper, eye, apple, orange, beans, tooth, cup, shoe, watch, glass. No, is that right? Watch, glass. I think that's right. Black, red. Then I think it was flag, meat. And then it was hand, hammer, I think. I bet you any money if we go back. Right. So that's pretty good, huh? Well, here's the thing. It turns out when we give ourselves a chance, when we really focus in and we devote some energy to holding on to things, we sometimes can hold on to things a lot better than we think we can. I have a friend who's living with dementia who was with us, maybe 3 weeks ago now, 2-3 weeks ago. And we did one of the Total Health Works recorded sessions on the internet. And they do, there's 4 pictures and you're supposed to remember the pictures. and they go over the pictures, and we do something similar to what we did today. And then there are 6 numbers that you're supposed to remember. And they come up with a way that you get your 4 pictures and you create a story about the 4 pictures so that when you tell the story, you might be able to recall the pictures. And our friend was super good at remembering the numbers. Now, this is somebody who lives with vascular dementia and has a hard time holding on to stuff and has a hard time holding on to stuff, period. I mean, that's just the way it is. But for this particular thing, he was better than us, number one, at recording it, getting it into his system. Then he was better at recalling it. And then he was better. And then 4 days later, he was still able to do the numbers. And it was a series of 3, and a series of 3 was the way he did it. But he was also able to remember 3 of the 4 pictures, and with some cues, he was able to get the 4th. And then another week later, he was still able to do it. And it was because we spent some energy, had some fun, played around with it. So I think sometimes we sell ourselves short. And sometimes the stuff we want to remember, our brain doesn't really care that much about. But sometimes when you decide, I'm going to put some energy into this, I'm going to give it a try, I'm going to see what happens, you give yourself a better chance. Now, it doesn't mean it'll always work, and it doesn't mean that this is a test of any sort of thing. It's just an opportunity to get your synapses to fire and give yourself a chance to play with the information. Because I think sometimes we get sort of hard-nosed about how we're going to go about doing something, and we're not willing to play. And if we get willing to play, sometimes we can have a good time, and we can also hold on to information better than we think we can. But even if I don't, does it really matter whether I remember that it's apple orange or that it's roll up the paper and you put it up to your eye? But maybe if I do that motion and you come up with it, you know the really cool part? You feel excited and I feel excited and we get connected and we're doing it together. And I think probably more than anything, what's memory worth if all you're doing is holding on to something by yourself? Maybe sharing memories is really, sharing experiences, sharing opportunities, trying things together is really what gives us that chance to see what's possible. We're all about what's possible. And if none of that works, we have other ways to interact. Oh, what was that? Paper? Try this. Let's see what happens. Maybe rather than just using gestures. I'm going to roll this up and imagine you're on a pirate ship and you're wondering, is that a ship off there? And you could just put it up to your eye and see what happens. Yeah, I'm messing around with you a little bit. Because sometimes when it comes to memories, we get a little serious about this. We do tests and everything else. And sometimes maybe we get so invested in being right that we forget sometimes the most fun about the whole thing is to see what people come up with. So when I do flag, and I squeeze my hand a little bit, I wonder how many of you out there thought of the word meat, and how many of you went, wonder why she's squeezing her hand. And how many of you are going, what is it she's talking about anyway? What I'm talking about, just so we can finish this off, is that in fact, it's interesting how human beings have the capacity sometimes when we do things 3 times in a row and we use our eyes, our ears, and our bodies, that we can, in fact, get ourselves to hold on to something for at least a little bit. And if we use rhythm in the mix as well, maybe we might be able to hold on to this information even a little longer. And if it makes sense to our brains. So this is a little tiny thing, a bean. And maybe some of you said, And you're pointing to your tooth. Yeah, I am. And this is my hand. And this is, I'm going to hammer. So watch. Oh, you get the idea. So we're playing, but in the playing, we're using our brains. And it's really interesting that play is a critical way to build synapses. So if you get a chance, think about doing a little bit of play. And if you need some help at coming up with some things to do, you can join us on Monday afternoons, if you choose, from 3 to 4 Eastern Time, where we do Brain Connection Cafe. And I'm sure there are lots of memory cafes and other opportunities out there, but the real thing you have to do is decide, what the heck? If I can do it, I'll do it. If I can't do it, I'll still have fun trying, because it's not about being right. It's about getting engaged. Till next time, try out some strategies of multimodal cueing to see if you can get yourself to find something, hold on to it, discover something. Yeah, register it, because it's hard to hold on to something if you never really got it in there in the first place. Till next time, take care with your care and see if you can't have a little fun with the care in the meantime. Maybe take a look at something and see what clicks. Bye, everybody.
Hi, I'm Teepa Snow, and you just found our YouTube channel and watched one of our videos. I'm the owner and founder of Positive Approach to Care. Thanks for watching, and if you liked, if you have a comment about, or you would, please share it with people you know. Oh, and if you haven't yet done it, consider subscribing. We'll let you know when the next new video comes out, and you might want to visit our website, www.teepasnow.com, where you'll find other resources as well. See you there.